Me in the studio to also discuss this issue is a public analyst, Adeniyi Kunnu. Many thanks to you, Adeniyi, for joining us on this hour.
Thank you very much.
I mean, you heard that from our correspondent in Abuja. This protest is holding across 21 states in the country. Although the deputy chief whip has said, look, that clause that says a death sentence will be taken out, why do you think that this hate speech bill itself is so controversial?
Well, in the first place, you should have thought very deeply before you put such a bill out that included what you want to remove, which has to do with the death sentence when somebody speaks. Section 39 of the Constitution guarantees freedom of the press. And I think many of our lawmakers need crash course in what mass communication entails in the 21st century, because there's what we call netizens, citizens of the internet. That has been incorporated when you talk about the press in the 21st century. So I believe very well that a lack of knowledge in that regard perhaps prompted this. And from some of the researches I've done, I heard that the bill was actually copied from Singapore, which actually many persons have talked about. But there's another dent that this particular thing has brought to us. The 2019 Press Freedom Index put Nigeria at 120th position out of 180. And at times when we talk about press freedom, oftentimes we are quick to refer to the UK or the US. The UK ranks 33 out of 180. The US ranks 48. In fact, the position of these two great democracies is poor compared to a country like Namibia.
And then we continue to see a decline in that of the US.
Well, it's a decline in the US. If you even look at Namibia, Namibia ranks 23rd. You look at Cape Verde, 25. You look at Ghana, 27. You look at South Africa, 31. These are better democracies in terms of press freedom. So if you're talking about Nigeria, I think what is important for the leadership, particularly the lawmakers that initiated this, is to understand that this has far-reaching consequences. And at the same time, I think they really should know that the only thing that remains for the average Nigerian is to be able to attempt some form of check to allow for balance in governance. So if you take away the opportunity that the citizens really have to say that you should address certain issues in governance, then what else do you want them to do?
But what about those who argue that, look, freedom of expression should be balanced with other considerations?
Well, I think that what government can do is to ensure enough sensitization on the use of a gadget that is foreign. We didn't create the social media. The social media is a foreign creation that has become a tool for the world. It therefore means that agencies like the Federal Ministry of Information and those that are under it, like government media houses, as well as the National Orientation Agency, should embark on a fervid, a very enthusiastic orientation amongst Nigerians, creating hubs where they could tell you, these are the strengths and weaknesses of this particular strong device that you're using. Try to use it. I think that is the primary responsibility now. If people do not have understanding, for instance, you're talking about 30 million Nigerians who are on social media, over 100 million Nigerians that make use of the internet. You're talking about a soldier that you cannot have to hold their fingers or you don't hold their wrist. It therefore means you have to create thought out of the box measures to ensure that you engage with them. So rather than go ahead to legislate, to make the citizens become afraid of you, of those who are representing them, it is to create opportunity for them to better make use of these devices, because after all, they also have civic responsibilities. It is not only about being voted or to vote in an election, it is also about ensuring that Nigeria is a better place for everybody to live. So therefore, rather than initiate bills that will threaten or want to take over the rights of the citizens, why don't you find platforms, especially in your respective constituencies, to engage with them on the proper use of the social media platforms for better engagement in governance? That's the best way to go. If you look at this, 21 states, sooner than later it's going to rise. And when it rises, it unsettles the polity. So rather than concentrate on the business of governance, you're going to be concentrating on issues of security, on issues of protecting lives and property. Because when things like this happen, that is when you have infiltrators, unsettle things. So I think the retraction should not only be about removing the death penalty clause, it should be about completely jettisoning that particular bill and substituting it with certain legislation that will better help lawmakers engage at the level of their constituencies with those they represent so that they can use the social media better.
Public analyst Adeniyi Kunnu, many thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.